Let's get into it, shall we? Yeah. So, this morning, it was a bit late. Okay. It's okay if I'm a little late. I prefer not to be late, but yeah. So I'm still a little bit get add everything but no, fuck it. Don't care. Fuck it. What? No, dog. I don't really like that I'm doing that. Hello, diminished. Yeah. Yeah. This morning I'm going to be working on planning out the doing some more planning for the ProCgen stuff. Because Automate Games is gonna be showcasing. So that's another thing that I really like about these algorithms, is that it is entirely based off of resolution. So like the resolution is the thing that determines your performance over just about anything else, right? So if you're able to have like a downsampled system or something like that, then yeah, it's really good. But I don't really know how to do like a good downsample. I think the best way of doing it is that you render everything to an off-screen canvas, and then you basically write that to an off-screen texture, and then that's what you show, right? Then you have a secondary shader, ends up drawing it. So you do end up getting 2 draw calls, but modern video games have hundreds of draw calls per frame. so like it's fucking fine. I mean, I'm also probably way overthinking this as well, because the fact that this runs literally at all on my machine is awesome. And I'm guessing, right, like I have a hunch that actual modern machines will be able to handle it at full resolution just fine. So it's probably completely unnecessary. Also, how are you doing, Diminished? How you doing? You doing okay today? Be like having that be like that, so that when I go back here, you can actually see the stuff. Yeah, you doing okay? Yeah. Yeah. That'd be something that'd be kind of cool to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that. I'm pretty tired too. Don't need you. Okay. So here, uh, wait. Go into the stream manager. Ah. So. Choose from the I to 2D to remove from 2D to I buffer. I to 2D. Here we say, what is the one do? Here so the I don't know if I need to store, because I might need to store in these rooms, right? Because I don't know if, because like it might be better to have if I only have one entrance per side of the room, right? If I make everything about the room, then because if I do create a room entry, right? If I create a room, right? Because if I create a room, and store the list of rooms, right? Then what we could do is when we create the openings, we can say there is a left, right, top, and bottom, and then you have how do I put it? That's something I can do. Still really want fucking Everclear. I have ideas for it because I don't want to make a coffee extract with Everclear. The only problem is that it is Everclear. I'd have to proof it down. And that kind of ruins the whole... Well, actually, if I do it properly, then it wouldn't matter, because if I make it... Because, like, if I do... If I were to use Everclear, I would use a lot more grounds and a lot less fluid. And I'd basically be making a cold brew, but with, you know, Everclear. That'd be really good. That'd be really nice. A triple shot of caffeine straight to the dome. Straight to the dome, peace. Man. Alright, so... Oh, shit. That's not an I, that's a... There we go. I to 2D, 2D to I. So... What was I just saying? So you remove from all that stuff, right? We create the index, yeah, we create the buffers, we create the index, we need to create a list of rooms that we populate. The room is going to have the list of valid, basically the list of its walls, right? Because we want to create everything from the rooms. Now, there is I mean, there's also no guarantee that I can remove dead ends, which I'm not super thrilled with. I can't guarantee loops. I can't guarantee no dead ends. That's something I'm not super thrilled with. But I think as far as initial procedural generation goes, it should be fine. Right. I can do things like well, I don't want to do that. Because if I remove there's a lot of because like the whole removal from like the whole shrinking thing is to create corridors. You know, you basically place a corridor on the, you know, you replace a wall with a corridor. And that's like fine. And you basically just make it so that every wall has, you know, some probability of doing that. Right. Yeah. Okay. So we want to add that location. So we create a room. Oh, fuck. Oh. So EB. I don't want to be EB. Definitely getting closer and closer to monetization on Twitch. That'll be fun. Oh, hello! Hey, Starlight, welcome in. Hi, hello. I'm a very EP Foxo. How are you doing, Starlight? Super awesome to see you come in. I'm doing okay. I'm still trying to wake up. I started I started kind of late. But if you wanted to see what my nonsense looks like, yeah, all this is a single shader. Everything you see here is just one shader. Yeah. So, all of this is just one shader. I can go through a lot of the logic with it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, how's that waterfall shader coming along? Did you figure out the yeah, yeah. Yeah. Did you figure out the UV mapping for it? Because like that was kind of a colossal pain. That's part of the reason why I don't deal with the actual 3D models and stuff, because doing shaders for actual 3D models is a pain in the ass. Oh no, diminish, no. Yeah, I was kind of like that last night too. It was not fun. Except instead of sad, it was anxiety. So that was great. Yeah, that was fun. Da 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 da. Yeah, the get color. Let's see, what would be a good example? We've got a lot of stuff here. I mean, I guess I could do, because I got, yeah, I have all of that logic set up. So let's do, what is it? Vec3, test 4.1 with the UVT cell. Do you believe? Yeah, the UVT in a cell. Oh, I need an invec and invec vec 3 UVT and an invec 2 and in ivec 2. So okay. So let's do a vec 3 call equals vec 3. Return. Oh, this is GLSL. Cat 2, you have to have your semicolons. Nice. Ooh. Okay. Oh, doing a vertex. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, the vertex function. Awesome. I'm gonna have to pop in and take a look. That sounds really nice. Sounds awesome. I'm super glad that someone was able to help you out. That only took you like what, 2 streams? 3 streams to figure all that out. That's super sick. That's super awesome. I mean, doing shader stuff is not the easiest. I've just been doing this shit for years, right? Like I've been doing this for quite some time. So, yeah. So if we wanted to do like an example, right? Because we could do helps if I actually do test. Yeah, I'm super glad. I'm super glad because like doing shader work is a lot of fun, right? But it's also not the easiest thing in the world. You know, that's why I sent you to. That's why I showed you like RenderDoc. Also Draw-E is really awesome. I can show you Draw-E too. Since you're on the Linux, the Mint, like moi. Because I use Draw-E a lot on stream. You know, it's not like the best thing in the world per se, but you know, I don't have to deal with Krita and having Krita's, and like as much as I love Krita, it's not very well suited for stuff like this, right? Because then I can have, you know, my block outs, and you know, I can block everything out. I can also zoom out so you can see the entire chain of events for understanding like how, you know, because this is where everything started, was over here, and then you have, you know, the matrices going on there. We have the digital differential analysis algorithm, understanding the difference of, you know, including the third dimension, breaking out the brick texture here. Here is understanding when you're inside of a when the tile that you're on is at a corner. The variadic texture for the, I think this one is for, yeah, this is the variadic texture for the wood texture on the ceiling. Here is more block out for the yeah, for that. It's really cool. I do need to be less dumb about using it properly, because I've been super dumb about using it properly. I haven't been like selecting and moving things around, because you can do that quite easily, you know. There's like a few things I'm not like super thrilled with it, but since the UI is very minimal, and the tools are pretty simple, like it's fine. Like it's great. And the fact that it's all like vector based, since it's all SVG, you know, uh, and since it's all vector graphics based, then you don't have to worry about erasing rasterized, raster layers and stuff like that, which is super nice. I love that. Makes your blackboards very, very pleasant to work with. So yeah, this is Draw-E, which is super nice. I haven't gotten RenderDoc up and running properly yet because I'm lazy and I don't care. I haven't really needed to use RenderDoc, because this is not something that I do super awesome. It's not something that I do very much anymore. Just because I don't need to do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love seeing people get into game development. I've been doing it for 20 years. Um, Granted, I've been doing a lot of lateral movement in the game development space, so it's been a lot more of exploring different facets, different avenues, and different aspects of game development, rather than like sitting down and producing games. I haven't really done very much of that, just because that wall of learning about doing promotional work, doing marketing, building the community, doing all that work is stuff that I really haven't had the time or spoons to get into. So the full pipeline from idea to finished product available on Steam and or itch, and having an actual release and that side of things, I have like zero experience in that. It's all been just little games that I've shared with my friends, and their minds are blown, and they say that I should absolutely release it, and then I never fucking do. Um, you know, so it's more. So I guess I'm less of a game developer and more of a games engineer. You know, so it's a lot of lateral movement. It's a lot of testing out, figuring out systems in games and using them as like examples and stuff. Because I'm arguably a lot more interested in game systems than I am in. Yeah, it is a lot to get into. I did go to school for small business management. So I am quite knowledgeable at that. Let's brighten this stuff up. All right. Let's brighten this up. All right. So, like, it's also really cool because there's a lot going on. That's part of the reason why I'm on Twitch, because having the Twitch side of things and all that, which for me, it's like I understand that a lot of it is just like some of it is to build a community, which it seems like you've done an excellent job, by the way. Like some of it is to build a community, and for me personally, at this stage, because I haven't been monetized on Twitch yet or anything like that, I don't even have very many like regular. Well, I mean, Diminished is a regular viewer now, I guess. But I don't have very many like regular viewers. I don't have much of a community. I don't so there's that. but I am pretty. I'm a familiar face in a number of other streamers in the space, which is nice, and that's something that has been mind blowing to me. That's a little bit of a weirdness that I'm not super used to in the the content creation side of things is how um I've noticed that the indie game scene on Twitch is much less of a bunch of individual people um, doing their own thing and more of this massive network of, of Twitch streamers that all openly be all like, oh, hey, you're here. Hey, what have you been doing? Oh, you do this? Oh, hey, do you stream? I would love to stop by your stream sometime. Like, how's it going? Like, being it's a lot more, like is sharing that you stream on Twitch is much more um, acceptable in the indie game development side of things than it is in like the gameplay side of things. Which I don't know, it's really 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 cool to see, right? So we could do what is it, UVT dot yeah, I mean we could do UVT equal UVT so that we can take a look at the mango. Um, so here we have La Mango. So we have the mango here, and I'm absolutely going to take that. It's a mango now. The mango. um, and you also have the vaporwave when you yeah when you do it for the full UV spectrum, um, which is like the UVT, which includes the third dimension, which is the full color cube. That's the thing. But here, you can do, you have that, and if I wanted to like recreate the bricks without the variaticness of it, which is a colossal pain in the ass, by the way. Variatic bricks are not easy. That took some understanding. I could do a vec2 UV is equal to UVT dot XY. Then here I could just say full is equal to vector UV one temperature. Here we could show the vapor wave. Right. But we want to go with the mango instead. And here we can do UV dots X times equals. Let's break it up by 2. Well, I mean, we can make it bigger. UV dots Y times equals 8.0. So we have that. All right. Now this is kind of hard to see what's going on, and we don't actually have. We can see that there is a gradient, and we can see that the X side of things is a lot smaller, a lot shorter than the Y side of things. Nani? Interesting. I wouldn't expect this to... Why is the green like that? Why is the green... What? That doesn't make any sense. Because the X side... X should be... The X should be this way, and it should be red. Why is red the... That's weird. What is going on there? That's bizarre. I don't understand why it's doing that. That's not correct. No, all that's good. It's still... It's hitting the... It's getting that. What? Honey? Things like the isfill, the test floor. Strange. I don't know, I don't understand. Because, like, here we're saying that the... Oh. Yeah, no. Because Y is... Yeah, because, like, the yellow... Hello, Zoomy! How is AMR? What is going on? Wait. Why is... That's interesting. Nice. Nice. What are you making mods for? Why is that so... I'm confused. I am confusion. Let's do... Let's say UV is equal to the fractional component of UV, and see what happens. But I think, okay, so that is correct. No, it's not correct. Oh no, it is correct. Okay, yeah. It is. It is. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is correct. Yeah, all this is correct. Cool. So one of the things we could do is we have that. And we say we UV dot X plus equals UV dot Y equals floor UV dot Y. Yeah. I think I do it there because like the order. You're the cube that. That is incorrect. Right. I do this. Here? Alright. I know. Why is it not doing the do, right? Well, I mean, okay. Yeah, we have that. What we can do is we can say the IVEC2, or yeah, IVEC2. IVEC2. BID is equal to the brick ID is equal to 4 VV is equal to the IVEC2 of the floor of the UV. And then, yeah, but that's not very. So there's, how do I do it in here? Because I could also just go through this stuff, right? Yeah, because like the wall texture. There's a bunch of stuff in here, right? Because I could do the fractional. Yeah, the uv.y is the fractional divided by. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm just doing a bunch of stuff. But yeah. There's things, but shaders are fun. I like shaders. Shaders are fun. Coffee. I have coffee. So back to what I was actually showing. Back to what I was doing. So, ProcGen stuff. ProcGen. So, we say what is it that we wanted to do? Okay, so we grow from the seeds at random. You pick a random room. Which also means that we need a list. Now, the biggest issue is that these rooms. Yeah, because the rooms have walls. And bounds. But we don't necessarily have the same kind of we don't necessarily have the same kind of systems available. So, oh, fuck. God damn. Very, very eepy. I think I need my cold. Either that or to eat something, or both. Get some sugars in me. Some oatmeal. Some oatmeal would be good. Oatmeal would be good. Carbs. So we actually, I think we need to have, so we need to create a room, right? We create a room, and we add it to the list of rooms, right? And a room is going to have a minimum and a maximum. It's going to have a list of the cells that make up the left wall, a list of cells that make up the right wall, a list of cells that make up the up wall and the down. And it's just the cells that make up the orthogonal space, the orthogonal projections of the empty space of the room itself. Because we don't care about the corners. But as you grow, because the check is, like, if you want to push a wall out, you have to add, you have to change the cells in the left side. So the size of the left side isn't, like, say you want to grow in the direction of left. You don't need to really worry about the really nice if I had some kind of visualizer. I had like a map. A visualizer for the map. Like if I had a sequencer that because if I had a sequencer and control binds and stuff, that would, like a map editor and things. Do I care enough to work on that? Because that's the real question. Do I have enough brain cells that are functioning in order to do something like that? Because it'd be like really, really cool to have. Because like I would like to have a tool that I could step through the algorithm, right? So I could see like what happens when you grow, you know, and like step through the algorithm and grow the map and stuff. Make sure that's working as intended and all that. Step through manually and then, you know, be able to understand how it works. But I think, yeah, we create room 5, add a room queue list. Okay. And then the rooms are going to have, you know, understanding that a room has the minimum, maximum, the interesting, because we want to have, because I want to be able to look into a two-dimensional array, basically. Right? I want to be able to index into effectively like a two-dimensional array and say, yeah, because all that I need is, because the room is going to have an idea of its because the room is going to have the idea of okay, so this is the main dot update love pass press set love load love.load. So function build map. All right. Nothing happened good. So let's see here. So we want to define the map size. We want to, well, I mean, we could say, we could pass that in as an argument, right? Build the map of a certain size, or we could set it as a global toggle, as a global thing. Might not necessarily be the worst idea. Yeah, so we pick a random room, to a random wall. Check if there is room to grow. Well, yeah, we want to update cell list for the chosen wall. Add new cells to adjacent. It's well, it's well, I don't know how I feel about that, right? Because I don't necessarily want, because I might not necessarily require to add the cells to the wall list. Well, actually, no, we do. We do want to do that because we're going to be using that list of cells later on when we're deleting stuff, right? So the list of actual cells within each wall is important. Because we can use that as part of the logic later on. Explosion. Yeah, my upstairs neighbors are kind of loud and obnoxious and drop heavy shit all the time. So that's fun. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, and this goes until there is no more room to grow. So, how do I find that out? So one way to do that is oh, it's that. Oh, it's buzz. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, stretch. Yeah, stretch. Okay. Yeah, what? How do we know when we have more room to grow? So, since we're doing a random room in a random room in a random wall, we can actually create the. Since we're in Lua, we can create the we want to make sure that we have a valid. We want to have a list of valid operations, right? And then as we do things, we update whether or not that, whether or not it is a valid, whether or not it is a valid system or not, right? And you can do this in like C++. There's a lot of different ways of handling things. Just the fact that we are in Lua allows me to just store the functions as an object, right? JavaScript. If you're using delegates, you can do it in C#. Function pointers in C++. There's a bunch of ways that you can handle it. So yeah, you could have, you could store these actions as objects in a whole host of places. I don't know about like Godot or G or Game Maker. I don't know what their systems are like. I think Godot has, what is it, GDScript. GDScript has, they have something like function pointers. Oh, callables, right? Yeah, they have callables that you can create. And then you can like pass around the callables for things, which is like super nice, right? So we could do, yeah, we create the room, we add the room to list of rooms. We pick a random room, we pick a random wall, right? Which I'm basically saying that these two steps are effectively the same things. Yeah, hello tool. I believe that you were new to my stream. If so, welcome in. Welcome to the space. Hope you're doing good. Turn is a game that I made in 2021 for Halloween. And the entire idea of it is that it is a kind of like a pseudo remake of Wolfenstein 3D. More so that it is an exploration of the rendering algorithm that was used in Wolfenstein 3D. And part of it is that you that every single pixel is either white or black. I've changed it to grayscale because grayscale static grayscale noise is less abrasive to your visuals than pure white or black. But you can do pure white or black. In fact, I can do all the way down to the bottom. This is the wrong one. It helps if I go here. Yeah, because here, shit. Yeah, the noise is the fractional dependent. Ah, yeah. Okay. Call color 1, color 2, and float do static. So we can change the static to the secondary type. Yeah. Which is, I think, strictly white or... Is that still... No, that is not strictly white or black. I don't think so. Yeah, there goes my frame rate. Oh wait, no, I think that is strictly white or black. Yeah. It just doesn't look like so because I changed the resolution of my YouTube channel. So. Yeah, it is, the pure white or black is very abrasive. It's very difficult to look at it for extended periods of time, right? So, while it is the more interesting solution conceptually that you can, because at that point you can emulate a grayscale value with white or black pixels by flipping them white or black, based off of probability every single frame, right? Basically, every pixel is a quantum pixel, right? It is either, and you just collapse the waveform every frame, depending on its underlying grayscale value. You can think of it like that if you really want. So it being a binary, it being a binary 1 or 0, and you just kind of flip which one depending on, the duty cycle. Effectively, like, temporal, it's like, what would it be, like, temporal chaotic dithering or something like that, right? Is effectively what it is. But it's a really neat effect, right? It's a really neat effect that you don't really see in any games. But having the probabilistic spread be a little bit different is, as interesting as the 1-bit static is. It being 1-bit is very interesting. I liked the idea, but it's very harsh to look at. And I don't know if the fascination of it being 1-bit graphics is worth the harshness of viewing. I could set, I could set some things under the hood to be kind of like a toggle for, just to like soften it. That's something that you can do in the options, things like that. I'm not fully certain how I'm going to handle like onboarding and everything, because I'm not going to have the keybinds and everything up in the left hand corner forever, right? Like that's not what I'm going to do, right? Yeah. So I'm not going to keep the keybinds up there forever. And I'm also not going to have, the ability to just give, increase, decrease the brightness. I'm just doing that for debugging purposes. Because I'm a part of like Automate Games. I'm a part of that circle. The animal dev circle, aminal. Yeah, I'm part of the animal dev circle, so I've got a lot of those people, them's peeps around. Otter's actually going to be reviewing and messing around, toying around with this today. Hopefully today, if he gets around to it. Right? If there's time for it, I should say. It is on the schedule for today. Whether or not he actually reaches it is to be determined. Yeah. But all this, all these textures are variadic, right? So like the width of the bricks is randomized. The length of the wood planks are randomized. I could give like a wood grain texture if I wanted to. The floor is procedurally generated with just a bunch of sine waves. Right? You can kind of see it, which I'm not like super thrilled with. Question mark, but like it's fine. It's fine. So there is that. But yeah. Do you do much dev work? Well, games, other software development, shenanigans? Yes, no, neither. Could do. I could bump this up a little bit. Double the width. Yeah, that's very, very. I think for now, for development. Ooh, actually, I think I kind of like that. Interesting. Destroy my bitrate real quick. I actually don't think that the bitrate is too bad when I do the static. Because my bitrate is already so damn low. Okay. That's okay. Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of like that. Find that very interesting. That is cool. Okay. So yeah, back to the features. Add room to list of products. So I think the way that this is going to work is actually add the action to grow each wall. Because basically what will happen is that it will, if, like when it is chosen, it first checks to see if its own validity has updated or it checks to see if it is a valid, if it is still a valid action. And then if it is still a valid action, do the action. And if it's not a valid action, right, it checks to see it checks its own validity, because its own existence is insufficient, right? Its own existence is insufficient. So if it is not valid, it removes itself from the list of valid targets, of valid actions. If it is still valid, then it performs its own action. Right. And then moves on. So it can, yeah. So yeah, it'll create a new, it'll create a new function, add that function to the list of things to do, and it will, return a new function and all that stuff, right? So hopefully it handles that by value. Hopefully it's a pseudo value type, right? Because there's reference type, which can be anything, and then there's value type, which is usually data. But you can also treat functions as value type, right? Because welcome to the wonderful world of computer science, where everything is a number, including actions. So I will be right back. I have some coffee to fetch. Enjoy the tunes while you give me like 2 minutes, if that. If I had ad breaks, I would be doing them now, but I am unmonetized, so enjoy the adless. Enjoy the adless fox while it exists. I swear, coffee kind of smells like cat piss for some reason. So let's see here. Yeah. Yar har 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 har. Oh, my back. Alright, cool. There we go. I'm back. It's just cold brew, not anything special. Just had to start the next batch. Yes. I like cold brew. Very, very potent. Very strong. Easy to make. Easy to do. Why I like. Oh, I'm cool. Oh, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab my blanket. I don't know what happened. Like this is an electric throw. It's an electric throw blanket. It's a heated blanket, but I don't. Yeah, I don't have the cord for it. So Um, yeah, it's just a fuzzy blanket to me, which kind of sucks. I would really like to be able to just turn it on and have it be heated and it'd be extra toasty warm. That would be nice. Um, but I also don't want to get all sweaty. That would be very nice. So yeah, we add the action to, you know, we add the action of growing the wall to the list of valid actions to take, right? And then we just pull from that valid action list. I feel like this is a pretty common thing to do in procedural generation, or at least in the systems that I've come up with. It's a pretty common thing. Because if you have access to like function pointers or callables or whatever it is that your tool chain has as an object that you can call, even if it's just operator overloading, like an STD, like a standard function in C++, right? As an object that behaves like a function, right? These are all things that you can use. In Lua, it's just you have you can just store. You just have the ability to store functions as objects, which is super nice, right? You can just store a function as a variable. Super nice, very nice. So, what do we want to do here, right? Yeah, you want to grow each wall to. You want to add the action to grow each wall to the list of valid actions, which is something that we. So you pick a random wall. You pick a random room. You pick a random wall. Add the. Well, we also want to add, because the rooms is going to have to set the room ID of each cell that it contains. Right? So, whoops. So, room ID. Right. So, like, basically what ends up happening is that, you want to, because no matter what, if the room ID is different, on each side of a wall, when you open it, when you create an opening, then you have the system for that. Like if let's walk through an example. Let's actually do an example. Alright. Let's actually do an example. Come on, Critif. So let's do a new image. Not that big. I don't think I need a 512 by 512. I could do a 64 by 64. Let's do a 64 by 64 pixel. Let's do 64 by 64 X. Content background color is blue. Sure. Right. So let's actually step through. Let's be the That's not the okay. Snap to grid, snap to orthogonal, Windows settings, Dockers, overview tool, layer, compositions, undo history. Let's take a look at the window, wait, where is it? Settings, Dockers, show Dockers. Wait, what? You could just turn off the Dockers. That's good to know. I don't want to do that, but... Loot management, grid and guides. There we go. Here we go. Alright. So, let's do Control A. Alright. Let's do a select all. Yeah, let's do a select all. And then do that, right? So now we have this system here, right? And then what we can do is we can have right? We can have that, right? So when we do this, we know that, well, first let's you know, erase, 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 right? Erase, erase, erase. I mean, this is more like passant disk sampling, right? Simply because people don't like things super, you know, rough, right? So we can do that. Right. So we have, you know, these sample points, these seeds. Cool. So then we start growing them. We can make them, you know, we can make them a little bit, you know, bigger. Yeah, so why, por qué, filled, not filled. Foreground, background, foreground, foreground. Outline, brush, brush, brush. Alright, so I should be able to do, like, tool stuff, right? Yeah, okay, cool. So I can do something like that. Okay. So, you know, we can do, you know, something along these lines. Let's do some tweaks, right? mostly just do that, right? So then, what we can do, we can say, towards the end, um, towards the end, we're going to have, these kinds of systems. So, we delete each wall one at a time. Alright. We're basically carving out the walls. We're carving out the rooms from the walls. Is what we're doing. Now, here we have an interesting situation. Right? So as part of the system, we need to be able to identify these voids. Right? We need to be able to identify these void regions. Which you can remove via there's like ways of doing it. Alright. There's like ways of handling them. Alright. But for the most part, alright, we have this, so yeah, let's expand. Let's do image layer. Snap to grid. Because we can do alright. Can delete these stuff. I think I actually like doing it this way more. It's a little bit more deliberate, but it's okay. So here's where things get a little bit dicey. And this isn't going to be necessarily super robust, right? But like that's fine. So here we have that. We know it's gonna go up there. That's gonna go up here. I also don't think that these are going to be good sized. Right? I don't feel like these are going to be good sizes. We could expand this out to here. Okay. So, how do I make this the worst case? That's not the worst case. Oh, I don't think I can have the worst case here. Yeah. Because it's just gonna exist anyway. So... yeah. The most robust way of doing it is going to be creating it's so if we want to have, because we want to be able to find these regions, and we want to find these regions and fill them in, right? Like that is something that is, you know, kind of difficult to do. Because we want to make sure that, you know, these regions are filled. And let's just say that we had another room here. Alright. Yeah, these are gonna be way too big. So after we have these rooms, what we want is we want to have, I mean, like, for one, we want to have smaller rooms, right? But we want to make sure that we have, like, these kinds of regions, right? We want to find these and build them in. And that would be pretty sweet. But one of the things that we can do is we can also say, hey, build in walls here. You can build in walls, you know, here. And building walls here. Building walls here. I mean, this is also kind of an interesting thing. Because what if, when we are shrinking these regions, like if a room is too big, right, we pick a random side, right? If a room is too large, pick a random side, and we'll shrink it by 1. Right? Because then we could go into here, shrink these, right? But what if we could shrink by a few. Alright, what if we wanted to shrink by like a little bit? Or shrink in the same direction multiple times. Right? And then do that. Right? And if anything is like really big, and we've shrunk too many times, then we can go in and put in splits, right? Because we could do the splits like that, right? So I don't really know exactly how. But I'm still like kind of trying to figure out, because we could do things along these lines, right? We could do things along these lines where we have walls and we... Interesting. Huh. That might be interesting. If instead we kind of like sprout from the walls and allow for, you know, different things to go. Alright. Because we can kind of break all these up into smaller and smaller pieces. Based on some rules, but I don't know what these rules should even be, right? So I feel like most situations are going to be similar to this, right? Where it's just going to go and, you know, be fine. So like we have a bunch of these kinds of situations. And we can also do these kinds of situations. I mean, that's going to be enough. Well, alright. Alright. So we have this whole situation here. So now we know that like some of these are going to be like a lot of these are going to have like these kind of corridors and stuff in them. You know that we can have some more corridors and stuff in them. Any of them that are broken up like this, you merge immediately, right? Alright. Any corridors that are end to end, we immediately merge. Period. End discussion. So now we can start going in and just say, hey, so corridors are going to have some kind of entrance and exit on them. We can go with corridors first. Do that, we can do that, and we can do that. Alright. Corridors that are adjacent to other corridors must be connected in some way. No, not necessarily, right? You can do something like that. Do 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 do. I mean, I guess you could. I mean, this is kind of like a weird dead end. It is a little strange having this dead end. It's a very long dead end too. But I don't really know of a good way of detecting dead ends, right? Because I don't really want a lot of dead ends. But I don't know if I can reliably detect and purge dead ends. Right. That's not exactly a trivial task to accomplish. Right? I think that's one thing. Right. Because I'm also like creating more dead ends here. Right. So, if I am correct, then Alright. Okay, so there are 2 regions. At which point I think I can just do, well, let's do, yeah, this, and then we can say, alright, I could do that. Okay, so that's full, right? So now this is a map. Do I like it? That's the problem. I mean, for one, it's kind of fucking massive, right? I don't have a good way of passing in the size of the map, which is something I'm going to want to change. I don't have a way of eliminating 2x2 squares, because that's something that can happen. If by chance the seeds are on the wrong, yeah, if the seeds are on the wrong parity. If the seed locations are at the wrong, are of the wrong parity, then we can run into some issues. So do I want to... So one way of doing it is that you can go around the outside, add all of those as local spawn points for walls. You can grow the walls out from the outside towards the middle. Because what you can do, you can go from x equals 0 to width, set the top and bottom, and then from the left to right, for the length of y, right? You can do that. Those are valid options to do. So, because then you also guarantee, you could guarantee parity, right? But like that would be something kind of difficult to do. So there's some ways of eliminating parodies, right? Like I wanted to figure out. I also want to figure out like what kind of size map I, right? Do I want these large ones? Do I want to have these big things? Oh, and more. Hmm. Because how common do I want? So let's see what kind of. Okay, so let's save as map 2. Oh, actually, it's not. Yeah. So we have a PNG there. Okay. So here, there is a little doobly doo with the doobly jam. Yeah, I think if I'm correct, yeah, map size. Okay. So I can actually say, um, um, mm, interesting. Okay. Can I do that? See if it works. Haha. Table expected to get a number. So that doesn't work. Good to know. Oh shit. Undo. So what we can do is you can say map get width. Map. Get height. That should work. Yas. Okay, cool. So that works. That still works. That's good. Brighten it up a little bit. I think 2 is pretty good. 2 is pretty good. But something that we could do is set everything to be the other one. It would be really interesting if I could swap. There are some other really interesting things that I could do with the maps. By like changing the, because you could do things like changing the plane of existence that you're in, and that's like literal planes, like an actual like mathematical plane of existence, right? Because there's like a few ways of handling things. Right. I feel like I should be able to do. Well, actually, I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't have enough computers, and I don't have the band. I don't have the how to accomplish that. That's what it is. Because I'd like to have like at least enough to fucking get stuff going. The average. Right. I don't think that's enough. So we can do that. And then I think we can just say this should just fucking work. So let's see if this is something that's worthy of doing, right? If I give it 2, then that makes things a little bit easier to, right? But like with the static, it makes it harder to, it brings everything in a little bit, right? So that's something to keep in mind. I feel like this is a very harsh dead end. Good to know. So I need to, so originally I was going to make it so that the ending point is I made it so that the goal because now detecting interesting. Because there's like a few different ways of handling. This is really kind of cool though. Let's do it this way, right? See how all this works. I mean, it looks like my bitrate's fine. Bitrate Saver 9000. Bitrate Destroyer. I also don't know how much longer I'm going to be streaming for. Because I am pretty EP, I am going to want to have some noms here in the not so terribly distant future. So I don't have... Why does this look wrong? That looks chunky. It looks thick. So, novelty. I want to... Because I don't necessarily want... So the length of a corridor, right? I need to figure out what constitutes the length of a corridor. What constitutes the size of... What constitutes sameness? So, rooms. So, the distance between decisions, right? The only problem is that rooms kind of ruin that definition. So, for things like corridors, if you can identify a corridor, right, then that is fine. So we do have... Alright. I mean, I also feel like I'm gonna need to take a nap here pretty soon too. Just with how sleepy I am, it's just been very exhausting. Like last night ended up becoming absolutely exhausting. Like I slept in hella late this morning, which was fun. Right. So I think I am gonna end it here. A little over 2 hours. That's pretty okay. Oh, I dropped 6 frames. I wonder why. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Um, just kind of, yeah. Just trying to take it easy today, I guess. Something along those lines. So, yeah, I am gonna end it here. I'm gonna think about how I want to approach this problem. How I want to approach the prop gen. Because that's just something, that's, not only is it something that I want to solve as, like there's a number of reasons why I want to handle proc gen. One is I don't want to sit down and spend the next 4 years manually making maps and stuff. It's a lot easier for me to come up with rules for a good map than it is for me to make a good map. Right now, it's a lot faster if I just do it manually. Alright? Because then I can go in and I can do an iterative process and tweak the maps how I want, but over time it becomes very draining. And like doing decent, like for right now, building maps by just manually creating them is great for testing, but I feel like it's going to be very bad for production, right? Because I do want this to be, like an extended exploration game. Because I'm going to end up having to have, I'm going to have to start thinking about narrative here pretty soon. All right, even though narrative is kind of on the back burner and stuff. Like I'm gonna have to come up with, like in music, I'm gonna have to come up with sound design. I'm gonna have to start thinking about marketing here pretty soon as well. Thinking about all these things. So there's a lot on my plate with the kinds of things that I'm gonna have to do for the so like there's quite a lot on my plate for that, which is fine, right? Like it's fine. I am going to have to kind of sit down and see though. So but anyway, yeah. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you for coming by and all that. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna try and get a little bit of rest before the otter starts streaming and all that. I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. But yeah, well, I mean tonight. Yeah. See ya.